How's it going, everybody? I hope you're having a terrific day. Today we're looking at how I was able to almost beat my all-time record of 26,842, just shy, coming up 200 underneath it, and which strategies I was able to use and which bases I was attacking on this raid weekend. So we went with attacking one Builder's Workshop and one Skeleton Park. We two-shot the Builder's Workshop, and then we get as much as we can from the Skeleton Park. So this is the basic layout of the Builder's Workshop. It's very easy with the Graveyard Spam strategy to pick one of the open deployment zones and either clear the bottom left side first or the top right side first, and then hit the other one on the second attack. My personal preference is hitting the bottom left side first. A lot of times the defenders don't change this side at all, so all the traps are right where they are, and you can very easily take out this giant cannon section and the crushers right here, and then get very close, if not fully take out the blast bill on the first hit. And then what it does is it opens up the entire area to allow easy access to the right side of the base for the second attack. So right now we have one wizard that was able to survive the giant cannon section. So he is just taking out the remaining defenses. Then we have one more ram to try and distract the blast bow and potentially take it out, but it does not have enough go-go juice to get it done. However, we accomplished our objective of getting around 35 to 45% destruction and taking out a few key defenses on the first attack. So now we are on to the second, and this first section, I'm sure that nothing is even going to die, so I don't even bother placing the 3 extra graveyards at the start. I'd rather make sure that I get the specific skeletons that I want all over the defenses that really matter. So as that section goes down, we're now moving on to the right side of the base, and it's very important to drop at least one graveyard over each of the giant cannons. I also like to drop it within the radius of the multi-mortar, so you don't have to worry about that. And a lot of times the troops will path upwards to start with, so it's good to save a couple of rams, as there are some giant bombs and zap traps on the left side of the quadrant. But now everything is starting to group together. And we had one lone wizard try to be a hero, to run ahead of the whole pack, try to get all the glory from the attack, but he was quickly punished for his efforts. So now we have the giant pack of wizards. They're going to town, and we even have a bunch of giants, and the giants are just slightly slower than the super wizards. So it's always good to save either 1 or 2 giants or maybe 4 rams, just in case they get to sneak ahead of the giants and the angles work out weird, so that you can tank the defenses so they don't end up dying. And we actually get 130 bonus gold, which is kind of crazy. So now we are taking a look at the Skeleton Park. Here we are using a couple of rams, but mostly the Flying Fortress, rocket balloons, and the graveyards. I found that with this sort of basic layout of the Skeleton Park, depending on how much stuff they have on the left-hand side, you can very easily clear out the majority of this base, if not completely one-shot it, depending on which defenses they have. And sometimes even with them moving stuff around, it doesn't matter a whole lot. At least it Capital Peak level 8, because you can only get the Skeleton Park to, I think it's level 2. So not too many defenses, and since it just came out, hardly anything is ever upgraded. But the idea is to have the Flying Fortress tank the air defenses that are shooting it, and then if it's within range of deployment, try and deploy the balloons to directly target the air bombs or the Tesla or the air defense, to try and save as much health on the Flying Fortress as possible. You do need a couple of rams or a couple of ground targeting defenses to open up the deployment, because if you do not destroy the trash buildings, you cannot deploy your rocket balloons closer. So here we see that all of the graveyards are done spawning, so we don't get any more helpfulness from the air skeletons for tanking or distracting. We have a couple packs of balloons left, so we want to try and take out this middle section of the base so that if there are any skeletons that do end up spawning, then they can take out the regular buildings and gain some more percentage. So as you can see here, we are closing in on 4,000, and we still have a little bit left to go. We'll speed up towards the end here, because there is not a whole lot of excitement. Just the Flying Fortress goes down, all the skeletons die to the giant cannon, and then the air skeletons finish off that last building and are unsuccessful in getting to this other trash building up top. But we were able to walk away with 4,410 from that single attack, which is very, very good. Now we end up hitting the exact same bases on the previous raid. So we're going in with the Builder's Workshop. Not quite the standard layout, but still very common. There's a left side, there's a right side. You know, a couple of splash defenses on each side. So again, we're just coming in from the bottom left side. Dropped in a couple troops just to clear that right hand side, so that as I deploy things closer to the bottom left side, nothing will get distracted except for that one giant. So we can make sure that everything is going into the same side of the base. Now once we get closer to the giant cannon and the blast bow, we're going to drop in the graveyard spells to help distract. And then we have a few rams to open up the walls as well, just in case the giants are too slow. But here you can see I think it was the multi-mortar or perhaps something, but now all of the super wizards are dead. So another thing that you can do is you can hold on to like 3 or 4 of them in reserve to be placed at a different angle from those big splash damage defenses. But even still, the giants are plenty tanky enough, as well as the remaining barbarians and skeletons, so they can usually snag quite a bit more. And again, as long as you get pretty close to the like 35, ideally 45 or more percentage from a first attack with a graveyard, like you will have almost no problems with the second attack. So right now we're just waiting for the giants to die out, and we do have a couple of the skeletons left. It's always good to just let the time run out if you have time. Sometimes you'll pop a random trap and save yourself some hit points on the super wizard for the next attack. So next up, we are just cleaning up the base, dropping in some early skeleton spells to make sure that the giant cannons are tanked. And then the goal is to come in from this top side and then move down along the right hand side of the base. So we drop in a couple giants up front, as well as a couple rams, And then we are holding on to a few super wizards to try and get a different angle so they don't all get splashed by the giant cannon. Not too much stuff is dying, so we're not getting too many skeletons spawning, which is fine for this first section, but we do want some stuff to die out on this second section. Because now, as you can see, we have a massive swarm of skeletons from the left-hand side. And since we were able to save a few of our wizards, we can now drop them down on this right-hand edge of the base so that they can be more spread out from the other ones. That is the power of the graveyard strategy. Once you get comfortable with it and sort of learn to take some rams and turn them into giants and just hold off on deploying some giants or rams to help support and distract so the super wizards can get their damage off, then the Builder's Workshop is a very, very simple base, and I've had no issues on any of the different ones that I've attacked. Just a very nice way to get over 8,000 Capital Peak Gold. So now the final attack is we're looking at another Skeleton Park. It's a little bit of a different layout and a little bit less stuff upgraded, so we're able to actually take it out in one shot, which is kind of crazy. But all we're doing is we're letting the Flying Fortress distract, and then if we are able to directly target some of the air defenses, we will definitely do that. The only thing I really do is I make sure to drop a ram on this bottom left side because it pops the Tesla, and I believe there's also a zap trap there as well. So as you can see, there is no air defenses on this upper hand side, so those balloons are going to demolish everything. And we just drop in a couple of balloons down south, and they're working their way to this air defense and spear thrower. We have one more ram that we can pop on a random wall to get out the extra barbarians to help with cleanup. So there we send it in to help distract, take out some portion of the spear thrower. Now all that's left is the minion hut and the reflector. But we had one more pack of balloons in reserve specifically for that section, as the minion hut actually has a lot of health. So all that's left now is just the cleanup. And as you can see, we got the entire base taken out in one shot and have a decent amount of bonus gold since the Flying Fortress is still alive. Got an extra 115. So I was very, very close to beating my all-time best, which also happened this weekend, but just came up shy. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful, help you were able to learn some things and maybe can decide to pick out some better bases or maybe some different angles to get some more Capital Peak Gold. If you want to help me out, I welcome you to subscribe and like the video. And there should be a couple more videos on the screen if you want to check them out. Thank you so much. Until next time, take care.